Hello everyone, and welcome to Jumperman Tech, where we specialize in HVAC but do everything DIY. And today we have a service call for an Omega water source heat pump. Thank you to everyone tuning in to Jumperman Tech. Today we're working on an Omega water source heat pump. So this unit here was tripping on low pressure. Right now, this is refrigerant 410A. I have my digital probes inside there. And as you can see, the system is running in cooling mode. That's where our issue was. Look at that back pressure, 138 pounds with basically 298 head pressure. These pressures are completely good. So why is this thing tripping on low pressure? I made a video previously where another one was doing the same thing. I made a service call on this type of unit where there was the same problem where the low pressure switch was engaging, but when you open up the unit, the low pressure control is completely bypassed. So it's basically out of this board, one wire into the low pressure control and then one wire out. So if it's bypassed and there's no temperature sensors or anything, how can this thing trip on low pressure? So I spoke with Omega and they said if there's no low pressure control, it can trigger that alarm. I said, okay, we changed those pressure controls, and you know, a short time after, that customer had the same issue when the pressures were completely normal, when it was a brand new pressure control, and this thing still tripped. What's that telling me? This is a bad board. Anyways, it's been running for a little while. We're now at basically 131 back pressure, 295 head pressure. A little bit chillier out today. I'd say this is actually perfect refrigerant pressures. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna install two pressure controls. We're gonna do the high and low at the same time. We're gonna replace this board, and while we pull this unit out, we're gonna clean the condensate pan, blow it out to make it clear, test it with water to make sure everything is good. And there was another complaint where this thermostat was going to 85 degrees out of nowhere on itself, and it's the program. And when I get into the settings here, it's actually locked. Look at this ugly thermostat, and look at this beautiful view. It does not match the aesthetic of this apartment, so we're going to replace that too and just get rid of that program. For this system, the original control trips on low pressure for 75 pounds of pressure, and for the high side it's between 550 or 600 psig depending on what year. So I know the new ones are 600, and that is completely normal. So with these kind of pressures, there's nothing wrong with that. So how can it even trip on the low pressure control? That really had me thinking, and I know other people mentioned it too, but technical support led me in the wrong direction. Also, there's some dip switches here, this little red piece here, and for some reason it says that test mode is on. Why would that be on? That thing, nothing is right here, everything is hacked. It's time to revive this unit. A little bit of etiquette here. So whenever you're working in residential, always cover the floor and cover your shoes. That is the best way to do it. This unit is currently still running. Here is the new control board and the high and low pressure control. Low pressure trips at 75, high pressure trips at 600. And this board is slightly different. As you can see, these connections here, they're not just plugins. Everything on this board is plugins, so we're gonna have to cut some stuff up, and of course this thing came with no instructions, but I've done this before and we're gonna get this going. Let's turn this unit off, take off the top cover, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting this channel. I have just hit 100,000 subscribers. This is going to be the first video from there. Let's get this cover off. Let's put this in the hallway, and this is the unit. What we're going to do is slide this out. As you can see, my pressure probes are in there. Disconnect this piece here, disconnect this piece, and we are good. Let me take off my probes. You always want to check pressure with probes. You don't want to put gauges with hoses on it because you're going to lose a lot of pressure. Like this is like no pressure loss, especially with tiny units. Let's turn this off. There's 2 water valves in the back. It can be a little hard to see. I'm going to reach my hand in here and close them both because this is water source. We're going to have to close the water and remove these hoses. Water is closed. I got 1 wrench there to hold back, and I'm going to go against them right there. I loosened it up, and we're going to disconnect this. Also take a picture so you know which hoses go where, but this one's pretty straightforward. The left water pipe goes to the left pipe here. Okay. You push it in a little, and it makes it a little easier to take out right there. Let the water drip into the condensate pan, which is under, and we're just gonna do the same for this side. Let's do that. Get our wrench in there. Come on. And let's loosen it up. Right there. Water hoses are disconnected. Let's slide this out. Hold on. Let's watch the hoses. Let's go. So, pull this out. All right. All right, guys. So this is our high pressure control. It is original, but the low pressure is back here. And the fuse man was here. Look at this. This is your low pressure control now. A car fuse. How is that sensing pressure? There is no low pressure control. It's gotta be this board. This is just ridiculous. We're gonna put in new high pressure and low pressure. Chris is gonna take care of that while I'm changing this board. We're gonna take out this front panel here to remove this whole section so we can really get inside there. And I'll give you guys a look to see how this unit actually looks like. This condensate pan could definitely use some love. Even got metal in here. That's gonna really mess up your drain. So we're gonna clear this out, clean it up, and test it as well. Definitely needed. Let's get started on this mess. Don't try this at home if you are not a professional. So the power is off. You're gonna wanna make sure that is off and confirm with your meter. That has been done, and we are good to go. I'm gonna take off these little tie wraps. It's also super dirty in here. We're gonna see. We're gonna get everything nice and clean. Here's the, oh wow, that board already came off. All right, let's take this out. It's our thermostat. Let's take this out. This is our reversing valve, flow valve, and a ground. That's all it says there. These wires here is the compressor and the fan motor. Okay. This one's condensate overflow, low pressure, high pressure. We're gonna have to cut all that all out. Next, there's these little clips. It's gonna squeeze on them a little bit and pull. Pull. And then there's one, oh, that came right off. And that is it. Time to go back to where he came from, Canada. See you later. If you guys can see, there's a bunch of nasty dust in here. This thing is dirty. We're gonna clean this up and then get the new board in. Got this cover off. Christian's taking things apart. That's our high pressure control. And here's the low pressure. Took off the wires for the high pressure. And well, there's your low pressure. Got a little water actuator here, actuator valve, filter dryer, 4-way reversing valve, big black piece, that's our compressor. Where is the TXV? Right here. Thermal expansion valve, and the pipe here on the suction line, which should be a little bit better insulated. That's not good. Yeah, there's really not too much in here. It's not too bad. So let's go get those off. Get 2 wrenches to backspin, and we'll be able to get this out. All right, high pressure is out. There is a Schrader valve on here. So what we're gonna do is show that for the people. what is inside there. Nylog.
Yep. Right.
Nylog blue right there. Creates a gasket. It's good and compatible for all refrigerant. We're gonna put that on the threads, and then we're gonna tighten down the new pressure control. All right, quickly tightened it down. Basically just spun it on, and just gonna tighten it a bit. Hold back with the other wrench as well, and we're gonna be all right. All right, give it a nice tighten, and you're gonna be all right. Okay. Yeah. Also, let's show our audience what we're using. Using Big Blue Sub-Zero. This is basically a soap and bubble solution. This is a leak check solution. Let's spray that connection.
Got it.
We're gonna want to make sure that there's no leaks. Yep. If you see bubbles, you got a leak. Let's spray that a little bit better so it doesn't foam. Let that sit for a little bit, and then there's no leaks, and we're ready to move on. Pretty much. One wire goes there. One wire goes there. Pull on it. Make sure you got a tight connection. And there you go. Let's move on to the next one. This looks so much better. All right, we're gonna have a nice home for our new control board. See all this dust around the unit as well. And we cleaned that for the customer as well. We leave everything in pristine shape. All right, that is so much better. This unit's gonna get a huge upgrade, and that's that A1 Class A service. Here's our new control board. There's a little dial here where it says compressor delay. I'm gonna put that on the lowest setting because there's still gonna be a delay there. So I'm gonna push this in. There's these little clips here, and they're gonna go in the holes here, so you'll see. But it's very simple. You just get it in place, and then you honestly just push it together, and this is going to prevent the board from shorting out from the back. Oh, this thing is in my glove. Let's line those all up. Push it, you heard the click. Push it, you heard the click. And we are mounted. A couple things we could put together right away. Thermostat, and then this connection here with the reversing valve and the flow valve. What they mean by flow valve is the actuator, so we have water flow. Of course, this board came with no wiring diagram. And it shows colors: red, blue, WR, maybe white and red, and then black. The problem is above it, let's say COS. COS is not white and black. COS is the red. So this is not accurate. So you basically need to go on your own. I actually called tech support. I was on the phone for a long time, and I got all the secrets. Plus there's dip switches here that are gonna need to be set accordingly. So let's strip these back and let's get this in place. Finally got these wire strippers. I actually had this in my truck for years. I just honestly don't really use it. I'm gonna strip this back a little bit, but it does make life easier. I'm gonna strip all these wires back, just enough. I'll clean up when we're done. All right. That's looking good. That's looking good. So don't go by colors on this because it's wrong. You're gonna want to follow the wires and see exactly where things go, because over here it says WR in black, but that is not true. Our condensate are the two red wires. So we're just gonna slip this in from the bottom and tighten down our connection. And we're gonna do the same for the others. And of course, you're gonna have to make sure this goes in the right place. But I know where they go, and that only came from experience. This thing had me in circles when I first saw it, man. No instructions, come on, man. No wiring diagram, nothing, and you can't use the old one. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So anyways, let's put these wires together, and you'll see, I kinda like these better than the little push-on connectors, because sometimes you get a bad connection and that's not good. So this is the new and improved. This board goes back to 2016, and we are now in 2024, coming to an end of 2024, close to 2025, honestly. So let's get this in place and let's do what we do best: go home and grab the remote. All right, that's all in place. That's beautiful. And these You really got to know what you're doing. So I'm gonna strip these first two. These are all black, so you really got to know what's what. All right, cut this off too, so we have slack to put everything on. Let's strip this back. 1, 2. Oops, we need a little more. There we go. And yeah, as far as all this, you gotta know where they go. Especially when you got 3 wires that are all black, that are not labeled. You could really screw this unit up. So I do this one by one. Tighten that down. Okay, this needs to go under because it's really doesn't have much slack. Make sure this is straight. Let's get that in there. Want good connections. And we're just gonna move along one by one, so we know we're putting it in the right place. There you have it, guys. Brand new board. That right there is a beautiful thing. There's also some dip switches here that you're gonna need to set accordingly. I'm not gonna show exactly everything here, as I know the customer watches this. And sorry guys, this is how I make a living, and a magician doesn't give up all his secrets. So I'm gonna set the dip switches accordingly for this type of system, because this board can be used in different applications. And when it comes to these connections, make them tight, but don't go too tight, because you can break this off. Somebody's like, oh, they like to torque it up to spec, but this thing came with no instructions, can't find anything online, and you're pretty much screwed. So you know what, this is my torque wrench right here. All right, we got a nitro tank. We cleaned the pan. Let's blow it out. All right, that's it. Let it go. Let's take this water bottle here. All right, I filled up the water. Let's grab that one.
Got it.
And let's pour it down the drain. Make sure that all this, it's already a liter of water. You know, it'll take a long time to get through. So make sure this unit drains. Looking good. All right. Just gonna finish wiping down that pan, but man, it looks amazing. You already know what I'm gonna say. That right there is a beautiful thing. And shout out to one of my subscribers, Gene Wheeler. I gotta get you that 3XL shirt, man, for real. Appreciate your support. And Sherwin Alvarez, I saw your comment too. Medium, man, when I make shirts, y'all two are gonna be the first ones to get some. New board is in, everything's clean. Around the panel's clean. Cleaned the condensate pan, blew out the drain, tested it with water. We got 2 new pressure switches now. Everything is now wired. Covers are back on. That is awesome. We're gonna be ready to pull this thing back into the unit. And then we're gonna change out this thermostat here. And we're gonna go with the Honeywell. Every time I work here, these units just cut me up, man. Always. Have just cuts and everything all over my hands, everywhere. All right, let's get rid of this thermostat. Unfortunately, this thing is kind of sitting on the thermostat. We gotta get that off. Yeah. Pull this thing out. Whew, that thing is dusty. That don't look good. And also, if we pull off this base, use a knife. If it's like you see paint or caulk in the wall, because if you just rip it out, you're gonna rip the paint in the wall. You don't want that happening. Like this, at least it'll come all neat. And the wiring, it's not your typical colors. Brown is common, red is red, R is red, G is green. R and G, sure, but cooling is white and your OB is black. So loosen that up. Take a picture. Make sure you're doing this right. Then you can pull it out. Take all this out. And blue is here, but it goes nowhere. Huh, a wood screw. Beautiful. Maybe there's something you can take out. Oh man, there's a box in here. What the heck? All right. New thermostat doesn't use like terminal screws where you can cut back. So what you're gonna wanna do is strip this back, because then it's not gonna fit in there properly. So we're gonna do that with every wire. Make sure we have like a nice clean flat connection, and like that you'll see everything's gonna go in nice and smooth. All right, so we strip this all back. Right now, let's try to get those same screws back in, because they're gonna have a strange setup. There's no anchors here. You're gonna need these to reach. And it does. Oops. That reaches. Let's make that straight. Let's make sure this reaches right there. Beautiful. It is tight. I'll take it. Match that accordingly. Here's actually where you're gonna make the connections. So, and all your terminals are labeled. You're gonna label it basically the same exact way. So, I'm gonna push these wires through here, and I like to make the connections before I clip it on. Right here. Here's gonna be Y1, Y. I'm gonna press down on this tab and push it in, and it's honestly as simple as that. And we're gonna do this for every connection. G is next underneath. I'm try to do this neatly. Make sure the connection is good. G, push down on the tab. Might even wanna get like a little needle nose. Help push it in right there. G, and you're gonna do the same for everything else. You're gonna match it up according to what the old thermostat said. Nicely made. And we're gonna clip this in there to the top. Press it down. Make sure everything's good. And if you want to, for your final connections, which I would recommend, help push it in a little more if possible, because I'm not a fan of these connections. Just little push-in types. I'm not a fan. Right there. That's nice. Everything looks clean. We're using OB for heat in this section because it's a heat pump. If you're using regular heat or like boilers or any other type, I'm gonna use W as representation for heat, but you gotta know what you're doing. There's no universal video. Thermostat. Push it on and you're good to go. All right, 2016. Nope. 2024, we're just gonna program this thing, select June. Oh. It says June. We are now in September. What's today's date?
Today's 13th.
13th. Select 12-hour clock. Change the time. What's the time?
10:01 a.m.
10:01 a.m. And now we just gotta program this thing. All right, so you see number up top, 120, and then 3. You're gonna see 120 here. Scheduling options. 3 is 5-1-1 programmable. I'm gonna go to 0, non-programmable. So we don't want no program. Select. So there's gonna be this whole table of contents. I'll take a picture so you guys can see, and you program it according to the type of unit that you have. Guys are ready to go back in. Let's go. Going back home. hold on. Water hoses. Oof, all right, a little bit. Right there, right there. Let me get the wrenches. Left to left. This part might be a little hard to see, but actually, you're gonna want that cover up on top, and then we can put the water hoses because it makes it a little difficult. Got the cover back on, made these connections. Might be a little hard to see. Also, back there with the yellow handles, those are the water valves. So I'm all cut up to this edge right here. And then you gotta go all the way in here to try to open those valves. What a mess. There we go. There's one. And we'll do the other. Gonna wanna watch this, make sure there's no leaks. And then I could put these connections back. One there. And one here. Hear a little click. We're good to go, no leaks. Push that thing in place, and we can put the cover back on. All right, guys, I set the unit to cool, dropped it down to 70. It's 83 in there. If you see this blinking, that means there's a delay. When that goes steady, then the cooling function is on. As far as this board, got a few lights here, light there, status over here. It's just blinking green, and it actually tells you everything that happened. So there's delay on the thermostat now, and let's see what happens, but everything is nice and clean. Got some more lights now, so status is blinking. We got a light on cool, we got a light on fan, we got a light on rev, reversing valve, we got a light on FLW, or flow valve. So water's now running. Right now we just have a slight delay on our cooling. Our compressor light is not on, but it's looking good so far. All right, guys, the compressor started. I'm gonna take a picture so you guys can see where all those green lights are on. So become comp is compressor, and it started, and temperatures are now coming down. Let's see if I can give you guys a reading so you guys can see. 63.5, and slowly climbing down. It is 82 degrees in this space. Let's let this thing run. All right, everyone, unit's running, it's cooling, everything looks good. Let's see what the pressure, excuse me, the temperature is now. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. 53.8 degrees, and the space has come down. When we started, it was 83. So it already came down 8 degrees, nothing tripping. That's amazing. All right, everyone, we're gonna wrap this one up here. If anyone found this video interesting or helpful, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe as I come out with new videos every week. And I'll catch you all next time.